Hey guys, we're going to do our lesson on multiplying decimals. So when you're multiplying decimals, you actually don't have to line up your decimal places like you do with addition and subtraction. This problem just kind of happens to line up because they both only go out to the tenths place, but we didn't line those up on purpose. They just do that for this. So when you're lining up your decimals for multiplying, you just kind of back it up to the wall, sometimes we like to call it, so that the last digit, whatever place value that is, lines up here at the end, and then you kind of just work your way forward. So when we are multiplying these, we're just going to multiply it just like normal. We're going to ignore the decimal places, and then at the end we'll come back and I'll show you how to put the decimal back in. So I'm just going to start off by multiplying my 9 times 4, which is 36. 9 times 3 is 27, plus that 3 we carried over gives me 30. Then remember, tick your carry, we don't need that anymore. Tack your 9 that we just multiplied, so we don't need that. So tick, tack, toe. That just reminds me that I'm going to put that 0 down there as a placeholder, because now I'm here multiplying this 6. And when I'm multiplying the 6, I want my answer to go down below it, so that's why we're putting that O over here. So now let's go ahead and multiply that 6. So 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus that 2 gives me 20. And now I have multiplied all of those numbers. So since there's no more digits, I am done multiplying, and now I'm just going to add up everything I've done so far. So 6 plus 0 gives me 6. 0 plus 4 is 4. 3 plus 0 is 3. And my 2 plus 0 is 2. Okay, the one extra thing we have to do that's different from regular multiplication is I have to figure out where to put that decimal place. So multiplication is a little bit different. We don't just bring it straight down. Since we're not worrying about lining up the decimals, we don't do it like that. So what we do is we look at how many places there are behind the decimal place. So what I mean is when I look at this 3.4, I can see there's one number behind it. Okay, so there's 1. When I look at my 6.9, there's one number behind that, so there's 1. And then I just kind of add those together. So there was one place here, one place right here, one place right here, and when I put those together, that's 2. So I'm going to start from the back of my number and move my decimal place 2 forward, and right there is where it's going to go. So my answer, if I get rid of this, is 23.46. 23 and 46 hundredths is my final answer. Okay, so you multiply like normal, add up your numbers, and then just put your your decimal place back in by counting how many numbers there were behind the decimals in your original problem. Let's go ahead to problem number 2 and try that one out. So here we are for our second problem. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to ignore the decimal places. Notice this time they're not lined up, and that's totally fine. They don't need to be. We're just backing it up so these last numbers line up with each other, and then again, just kind of work them forward. And now that I have it lined up, I don't need to think about them anymore. So I'm going to start by just multiplying. So 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 gives me my 10. 3 times 9 gives me 27 plus 1 is 28. Okay, remember tick, tack, toe. Remember I don't need those carries anymore. I'm done with that 3, and I need to put my 0 down below there so that my answer is going below the 8 that I'm getting ready to multiply. So now I can multiply them. So 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus an extra 3 is 27. 8 times 9 is 72, plus those 2 make it 74. Okay, and once I'm done with all my multiplication, I'm going to add these numbers up. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 0 plus 2 is 2, 8 plus 7 is 15. 4 plus 2 plus an extra 1 is 7, and my 7 plus really that's 0, so 7. Now remember, the one extra thing you have to do that's different from regular multiplication is to put that decimal place back in. So for my first number, I can see there's 1, 2 decimal places there and 1 in my other number. So that means I need to move 3 decimal places. So starting from the back, 1, 2, 3 places, that's where my decimal is going to go. So my answer really is 77.522, or 77 and 522 thousandths would be my final answer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to try the next 4 on your own. When you're done trying those, come back and I will go through them. The one thing I do want to remind you about the next few problems is that dot and those parentheses, those both mean multiplication. So even though you don't see the X for multiplication in those problems, that's what it's saying to do, is to multiply them. So go ahead and pause the video and try those out, and then come back when you're done and we'll see if you did okay. Okay, so hopefully you have gone ahead and tried 3 through 6. So I'm just going to really quickly go through these so that you can check your answers. So I'm going to go 7 times 6, which is 42. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus that 4 is 39. Okay, and then I tick, tack, toe. I'm done with that column, so over to the 1. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5, and now I'm going to add those. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 9 plus 6 is 15, 5 plus 3 is 8, plus that extra 1 is 9, don't forget carry. Okay, and now I'm going to put my decimal back in. So there's 1, 2 decimal places, so starting from the back, 1, 2 decimal places, that's where it's going to go. So my answer is 9 and 52 hundredths for my final answer. All right, on to number 4. So same thing, I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 3 times 6, which is 18. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus that extra 1 is 7. 3 times 5 is 15. Remember to tick-tack-toe. Okay, 3 times 6 again is 18. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the extra 1 is 7, and 3 times 5 is 15 again. Okay, now I can add those together. So 8 plus 0 is 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus an extra 1 is 13. 5 plus 1 is 7, and 1 plus 0 is 1. Last thing, remember, put that decimal back in. So 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the original problem. So starting from the back, 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So our answer is 17 and 358 thousandths. All right, problem number 5. So this one has that dot. Remember, that is still multiplication. So you could have lined this one up. So I'm going to put the longer number on top. I just think that's easier. So 9.156 on top. Then I'm going to put the 45 down here at the end. Remember, you're just trying to kind of line up those last 2 numbers right here. I don't care about where the decimal place is right now. So now I can multiply them, and I can do 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25, plus the extra 3 is 28. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the extra 2 is 7, and 5 times 9 is 45. Okay, tick-tack-toe, move over to my 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 5 is 20, plus the extra 2 is 22. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and I'm ready to add those up. So 0 plus 0, 8 plus 4 is 12, 7 plus 2 plus an extra 1 is 10, 6 plus 1 plus 5 is 12, 6 plus 4 plus 1 is 11, and 3 plus 1 is 4. Finally, don't forget to put that decimal back in. So 1, 2, 3 here. And remember, in your whole number 45, your decimal's here at the end, and there's nothing after the 45. So I don't have to count that decimal place. So I'm only going 3 spaces in. So from the back, 1, 2, 3. There's where my decimal goes. So my answer, 412, decimal 02. I don't have to put that last zero, this one right here, because it's at the end, so I don't need it. If you did, it's not wrong, you just don't need it. So there is all I have to write for my final answer, 412 and 2/100ths for my final answer for number 5. All right, last one, number 6. So remember, those parentheses mean to multiply, so we are lining these up. So you might be used to just putting the first number on top. I like to put the longer one on top, so I'm actually going to put the 2.34 on top. It just is a little bit less work when you do it this way, so that's why I do that. And then I'm going to do the 8.8 on bottom. And we're ready. Once we get it lined up, we're ready to multiply. So 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus the extra 3 is 27. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. Remember, tick, tack, toe. Now I'm in the next column, again with an 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 3 is 24, plus an extra 3 is 27. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18. And now I'm ready to add those up. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. 8 plus 7 is 15. 8 plus 1 is 10. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Finally, we got to put that decimal back in. So I see 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the original numbers. So starting from the back, 1, 2, 3 places in my answer. So we get 20 and 592 thousandths for our final answer. All right, I hope you understood this and did all these problems correctly. And now you're going to go on to do some practice.